morning. It's a beautiful Monday morning. Although it was in the 80s last week, it's only about 40 today. But I decided I'd come out and spend some time drinking some coffee, watching some white-throated sparrows. They're pretty fun to watch. And I thought I'd read from this book that I picked up when I went to Shelburne Falls, Massachusetts, sometime last year, and share some of what this says. This book is intended to interest young people in the ways and habits of birds and to stimulate them to further study. It has grown out of my experience in talking to schools, from the youngest kindergarten scholar to boys and girls of 16 and 18. I have never failed to find young people intensely interested so long as I would tell them about how the birds live. Some of the results of these talks that have come to my knowledge have been astonishing and far-reaching, such as that one boy of 7 or 8 who persuaded the village boys around his summer home to give up taking eggs and killing birds and watch them instead, and who was dubbed professor by his eager followers. The effect has always been to make children love and respect the living bird. It has therefore seemed to me that what is needed at first is not the science of ornithology, however diluted, but some account of the life and habits to arouse sympathy and interest in the living bird, neither as a target nor as a producer of eggs, but as a fellow creature whose acquaintance it would be pleasant to make. With this purpose in view, I've expanded my children's talks into this little book, to be used as an introduction to one of the most fascinating and delightful of studies. I hope it is unnecessary to say that I have been careful to have the latest and the best authorities of the statements made, and I take pleasure in presenting a list of them. I'm not going to go into the names and sources that she shares, but just from my own experience, I've been watching birds since I was a child, inspired by my mom's cousin Sal from Spain. He had bought me a bird book when I was about 8 or 9 years old and a cassette tape that had all the bird sounds to identify them. And ever since I got that book and listened to that tape, I've been obsessed with birds and observing them, mostly from the perspective of coexisting and the interconnectedness that we share. The way they feed their young, the way they court or flirt with the opposite sex and then make babies, the way they take care of their children. It's all very interesting to me. And just observing them in general, they're beautiful to watch. So, Chapter 1, What You Want to Know. Birds seem to be the happiest creatures on earth, yet they have none of what we call the comforts of life. They have no houses to live in, no beds to sleep on, no breakfast and dinner provided for them. This book is to tell something about them, where they live and what they eat, where they sleep, how they get their beautiful dress, and many other things. But no one can tell all about their lives and habits, for no one knows all their ways. Men who study dead birds can tell how they're made, how their bones are put together, and how many feathers there are in the wings and the tail. Of course, it's well to know these things, but to see how birds live is much more interesting than to look at dead ones. It is pleasant to see how mother birds build their nests and how they take care of their nestlings. It's charming to see these young ones when they begin to fly. It's charming to know how they are taught to find their food and to keep out of danger and to sing and everything young birds need to know. Then, when they are grown up, it is interesting to find out where they go in the winter and why they do not stay with us all year round. One who goes into the field to watch and study their ways will be surprised to find how much like people they act. And after studying living birds, he'll never want to kill them again. It will seem to him almost like murder. Chapter 2. When they come in the spring. In the long, cold winter of the New England and Middle States, not many birds are usually seen. In the cities, there is always the English sparrow, and in the country, now and then, a chickadee, or a woodpecker, or a small flock of goldfinches. But very early in the spring, long before the grass is green, even while snow is on the ground, the birds begin to come. Some morning, a robin will appear, standing up very straight on a fence or a tree, showing his bright red breast and black cap, flirting his tail and looking as if he were glad to be back in his old home. Then perhaps the same day will come the hoarse chack of a blackbird, and 2 or 3 will fly over and alight on a big bare tree, looking, it may be, for a good place to build a bird city. Soon will be heard the sweet little song of the song sparrow or the bluebird, and then we shall know that summer's coming, for these are the first birds of spring. Day after day, as the snow melts and the sunshine grows hotter, more little birds will come. One day a catbird or two, another day an oriole in black and gold, and another day a pert little wren. My husband and my favorite birds are the catbirds. They're little gray birds with kind of like a silvery mohawk type stripe on their head, and then like a little white rump with a red tail. And they're just so gregarious and friendly and so fun to watch. A few years ago we were gardening and there was one we called Gary. He kept coming nearby when we were raking and turning over the dirt, and just kept coming closer to eat worms as I turned the land over. It was pretty sweet to watch. So it'll go on till by the time June comes in, all our birds will be back with us, very busy, hopping around in our bushes and trees, making their nests all about, and singing the whole day long. Almost the first thing every bird thinks of when he comes to us is making their nest. For summer is the only time in his life that a bird has a home. He does not need a house to live in. He cares nothing for a roof to cover him, because when the sun is hot, he has the broad green leaves on the trees to shade him. And when it rains, his neat feather coat is like a waterproof that lets the drops run off, leaving him warm and dry under it. He does not need a dining room because he eats wherever he finds his food. He wants no kitchen because he prefers his food raw. He has no use for a bedroom because he can sleep on any twig. The whole world is his bedroom. He cares nothing for closets and bureaus because he has only one suit of clothes at a time, and he washes and dries that without taking it off. He wants no fire to keep him warm, for when it is too cold, he spreads his wings and flies to a warmer place. A bird has really no need of a house, excepting when he is a baby, before his eyes are open, or his feathers have come, or his wings have grown. While he is blind, naked, and hungry, he must have a warm, snug cradle. So when the bird fathers and mothers come in the spring, the first thing they do is to find good places and build nice cradles, for they are very fond of their little ones. They spend the spring and summer in working for them, keeping them warm, feeding them till they're grown up, and then teaching them to fly and take care of themselves so that when summer is gone, they'll be ready to go with the other birds to their winter homes. The nestling. I'll be right back. I'm just going to turn the camera around. Chapter 3, The Bird's Home. Each bird mother has her own way of making the nest, but there's one thing almost all of them try to do, and that is to hide it. They cannot put their little homes out in plain sight, as we do our houses, because so many creatures want to rob them. Squirrels and snakes and rats and some big birds and cats and many others like to eat eggs and young birds. So most birds try, first of all, to find good hiding places. Some tiny warblers go to the tops of the tallest trees and hide the nest among the leaves. Orioles hang the swinging cradle at the end of a branch where cats and snakes and naughty boys cannot come. Song sparrows tuck the little home in a tuft of weeds on the ground, and bobolinks hide it in the deep grass. After a safe place is found, they have to get something to build of. They hunt all about and gather small twigs or grass stems or fine rootlets and pull narrow strips off the grapevines and the birch trees, or they pick up strings and horsehairs and many other things. Robins and swallows use mud. As they go on building, the mother bird gets inside and turns around and around to make it fit her form and be smooth and comfortable for her to sit in. When a nest is made, it must be lined. Then some birds go to the chicken yard and pick up feathers, and others find horsehairs. Some of them pull off the soft down that grows on plants, or get bits of wool from the sheep pasture or old leaves from the woods and make it soft and warm inside. Some bird homes are only platforms where it seems as if the eggs must roll off, and others are deep burrows or holes in the ground where no one can get it. Some are dainty baskets hung between two twigs, and others are tiny cups of felt with lichens outside. Each species of bird builds in its own way. There are as many different ways to make nests as there are kinds of birds to make them. Then, after all the trouble birds have taken to build a nest, they seldom use it a second time. If a pair have 2 broods in a season, they almost always build a new one for each family. A few birds, such as eagles, owls, and sometimes orioles and others, repair the home and use it again, and woodpeckers sometimes nest in the old holes. But generally, after the young birds have flown, we may be sure the nest will not be wanted again. When the nest is finished, the eggs are laid in it, one by one. We all know how pretty birds' eggs are. Some are snowy white, some are delicate pink, and some blue. Many have tiny dots and specks on them, and a few are covered with queer-looking streaks and lines. But pretty as they are, I think no one would be so cruel as to take them away from the poor little mother if he remembered that her young ones are inside of them, and that she loves them. His own mother loves him. I have heard people say that birds do not care for their eggs. Let me tell you what a little chickadee mother did when a man tried to steal the eggs out of her nest. The nest was in a hole in an old stump, and the man could not get his hand in, so he had to take them out one at a time with a little scoop. At first, the mother flew at him and tried to drive him away. Then chickadees and other birds who lived near came to help her. All flew about his face with cries, so that he had to use one hand to keep them away from his eyes. But still he went on taking out the eggs. At last the little mother was so wild with grief that she dashed into the hole and sat there in the doorway right before his face. He could not get another egg without hurting her, and he was ashamed to do that. This was as brave in the tiny creature as it would be for a human mother to throw herself before a fierce, hungry tiger. Do you think she did not care for her eggs? I think that's where I'm going to stop for today. Just wanted to share that with you.